वीतराग परमात्मा महावीर को नमन। 2021 में आज एक कार्यक्रम एक्चुअल भी है और वर्चुअल भी है। श्रीमती पुष्पा जैन, जो जैन समाज का एक पिलर रही है, आज उनकी पहली वर्षी है और इस पहली वर्षी पर उनकी ग्रेट ग्रैंड डॉटर्स अमिया और सरीना नमस्कार महामंत्र प्रेजेंट कर रही है। तो आप सभी से रिक्वेस्ट है, फोल्ड योर हैंड्स इन प्रेयर पोज एंड नाउ अमिया एंड सरीना, अप टू यू।
नमो अरिहंतानां, नमो सेतानां, नमो आर्यानां, नमो निर्वचायानां, नमो निर्विसबसवनां, ऐसो पंचनमुकारो तपे पावकनासनो मंगलरंच सागसं पमुमे हरिमंगलम।
ओम आराम। वेल डन अमिया, सरीना. Dadi's Atma will be so happy, so happy. And now I would like to start with a song which is composed by Samani Swarna Pragya ji, and that song is specially dedicated to Pushpa Jain. पुष्पा जी, उनके सॉन्ग को शुरू करें उससे पहले अरुण जी ने एक वीडियो सजाया है माँ की याद में। तो वीडियो डेडिकेटेड टू पुष्पा जी, और अरुण जी ने उन्हीं की फोटोओं से शुरू किया है। तो हम देखेंगे कि किस प्रकार वो मेमोरीज आज भी उनकी दिमाग में तरोताजा है।
महावीरो धीरे स्फुरतु मम चित्ते प्रतिपलम् अनेकान्त कान्त सकल सरितां संगमैव प्रवादे स्याद्वाद सकलवचसामोद्गमैव न सत्यं सत्यांशवियुतमिह दृष्टं बुधजने महावीरो धीर स्फुरतु मम चित्ते प्रतिपलम् न रागो नो द्वेष प्रशमरसपीयूषललितं शरीरं संवृत्तं गरलममृतं विस्मयकथा न दृष्टिर्नोदञ्च प्रखरफणिनश्चापि सफला महावीरो धीर स्फुरतु मम चित्ते प्रतिपलम् इदं शस्त्रं भीतिं जनयति जनानामधिमनम् इदं सैन्यं दैन्यं जनयति समाजे प्रतिपदम् विदेहे देहस्य स्थितिरभयमाप्नोति सहजं महावीरो धीर स्फुरतु मम चित्ते प्रतिपलं निमेषार्धो नूनं ज्ञापयति न चात्मा बहिरिह तथैवार्धोन्मेषो ज्ञापयति च तत्त्वं बहिरपि विचित्रामुद्रेयं वरनयनयोध्याननिरता महा।
व्यक्ति आता है और चला जाता है, लेकिन संसार के रंगमंच पर अपनी कुछ यादें छोड़ जाता है, अपनी कुछ बातें इस धरती पर इस रूप में छोड़ जाता है जिसे याद किया जाता है। तो आज उनकी याद को हम एक गीत के माध्यम से प्रस्तुत करेंगे। समणी स्वर्ण प्रज्ञा जी ने एक वर्ष का समय बीत गया और ऐसा लग रहा है कि कल की सी बात है। टाइम बीतता है और समय के साथ बहुत कुछ बहता भी है, लेकिन वो परिवार सौभाग्यशाली होते हैं जो अपने माँ पिताजी इनकी यादें सदैव अपने आप में जीवित रखते हैं। आप कहेंगे जो बीत गई सो बात गई, जो बीत गई सो बात गई, जीवन में एक सितारा था, माना वह बेहद प्यारा था। लेकिन आप जानते हैं ये सितारे टिमटिमाते हैं, रोशनी करते हैं, सूरज जगमगाता है, सबके जीवन को प्रकाशमान कर देता है। माँ एक ऐसा तत्व है, माँ अंधेरे में भी माँ है, उजाले में भी माँ है, माँ हर स्थिति में माँ है। तो माँ की ताकत जिसे तोला नहीं जा सकता, माँ की शक्ति को मापा नहीं जा सकता। तो अब हम वो गीत प्रस्तुत करेंगे और उस गीत में पुष्पा जी की ये एक वर्षी का पहला दिन आया है, यानी एक वर्ष बीत गया, एक वर्ष बीता और उस बीते हुए वर्ष को याद करते हुए
वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। सभी एक साथ गाएंगे। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। धार्मिक संस्कारों से पुष्पा जी ने जीवन धन्य बनाया है। मंगल आत्मा थी मंगल, उज्ज्वल जीवन था उज्ज्वल। मंगल आत्मा की मंगल, उज्ज्वल जीवन था उज्ज्वल।
तो आप सबने देखा उनका जीवन कैसा था और उस उपकार को हम सब याद करते हैं।
मात पिता के हैं उपकार सब पर भारी, जाते हैं हम सब उनकी ही बलिहारी। मात पिता के हैं
उपकार सब पर भारी।
जाते हैं हम सब उनकी ही बलिहारी। आभारी सारे गुण गरिमा गाए। आभारी सारे गुण गरिमा गाए। गाए तो लगता गाते ही जाए। स्वर्गों से आशीष ले ये परिवार सदा सरसाया
है। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है।
धार्मिक संस्कारों से पुष्पा जी ने जीवन धन्य बनाया है। मंगल वर्षी का दिन मंगल। मंगल आत्मा थी मंगल। पुष्पा जी ने भी संस्कार खूब दिए। धार्मिक चिंतन से सेवा का पान किए। इंदु अरुण भाई समतामय शैली। अलबेली बगिया सेवा से फैली। अजय माला सुनील मीना पद्मा हरि ने गौरव बढ़ाया है। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। पुष्पा जी का दिन ये आकर सबका मन विकसाया है। मंगल आत्मा थी मंगल। मंगल आत्मा थी
मंगल। आज उनके ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन भी, ग्रेट ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन भी उपस्थित हुए हैं। तो
अनिश आशीष की दादी लगती थी प्यारी। शुभ संस्कारों से सजाया परिवार ये भारी। पुष्पा जी का उपकार सबके मन उजियारा। करता श्री सोनम पद्मा हैरी पाहर साया। आशीष उनका पाकर परिकर सदा ये आगे बढ़ाया है। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। पुष्पा जी का जीवन देखो नई प्रेरणा जगाया है। मंगल आत्मा थी मंगल। उज्ज्वल भावना थी उज्ज्वल। अमिया सरीना की परदादी का मधुर व्यवहार था। सेवा भावी सरलता के सुंदर संस्कार था। आदर्श प्रियंका किरण रोरी ने मंगल भाव सजाया, ऋषि भी आशीष पाकर मन में हर्षाया। श्री सोनल पद्मा हैरी भी आगे भाव बढ़ाया है। वही सोनल पद्मा हैरी ने सेवा संस्कार जगाया है। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। पुष्पा जी का मंगल ये दिन सबको याद दिलाया है। मंगल आत्मा थी मंगल उज्ज्वल, आत्मा थी उज्ज्वल। आप सभी एक साथ गाएंगे। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। वर्षी का दिन आया है, उपकार मन को भाया है। धार्मिक संस्कारों से सबका जीवन धन्य बनाया है। मंगल आत्मा थी मंगल उज्ज्वल, आत्मा थी उज्ज्वल। एक मंगलमय आत्मा इस संसार में आई और अपने पद चिन्ह छोड़ करके वो चली गई। पीछे भरा पूरा परिवार छोड़ के गई है और वही एक बगिया के रूप में सबके सामने है। और उस बगिया की अरुण आई है। अरुण भाई के मन में माँ के प्रति जो भाव थे हमने बहुत नजदीकी से देखे, क्योंकि पिछले लगभग 10-15 वर्षों से तो मेरा निरंतर आना जाना रहता था और निरंतर हम पुष्पा जी के पारस धाम में, घर नहीं कहूंगी, पारस धाम में जाते रहते थे। तो कभी लाना, कभी छोड़ना, कभी ये करना, अरुण सदा आगे पीछे तैयार दिखाई देते थे। तो अब मैं उन्हें कहूंगी कि माँ की याद में अरुण भाई भी 2 शब्द कहे। माँ का फोटो आना चाहिए। ये आप थोड़े से बस ठीक है। हाँ
My dear family and friends, today I want to pay a huge respect to my dear mother. She was known as Dayavati as a formal name, Pushpa ji to her friends, and Bai to her children and all the youngsters who knew her. She was a unique person, very devoted to Jainism and its beliefs. Her entire life had been dedicated to Jainism and its principles. Her belief in Jainism was very strong, and she was always a very passionate and devoted person. My mother, out of her own personal funding, organized to celebrate 2500th anniversary of Mahavir Jayanti at the Indian YMCA in 1975. Flyers were printed and distributed to the shops, homes, and cinemas. Mahavir Jayanti celebration was a huge success. As a result of this, Jain Association of UK was formed, and she was a president. My mother's front doors were always open to sadhus and samijis, or any members of Jain community who wanted to visit her. During positions, she made provisions for sadhus and somebody to stay with her. Her life was devoted to looking after them during this time. My mother was a very kind and considerate person. Her house was always open to visitors. She would make people feel very welcome, offer them tea, coffee, and refreshments. Children would always be treated to chocolates and munchies, which she always had them in abundance. My mother was born in Nagpur on 26th of March, 1933. During earlier part of her life, she lost her mother and father, and she was brought up by 3 brothers and 1 sister. Her devotion to Jainism started when she went to Jain religious school in Ara in Bihar at the age of 10. From there, her devotion to Jainism and its principles were instilled in her. My mother survived my father for 49 years, raising 4 children, educating them, marrying them. She leaves behind 4 children, 7 grandchildren, 3 daughter-in-laws, 1 brother-in-law, and 2 great daughter-in-laws, and 2 great granddaughters. During the later part of her life, my mother suffered from very poor health. Her children took care of her, supported her, and looked after her. We miss our mother that she's no longer with us to celebrate family birthdays, anniversaries, Diwalis, and Christmases. She always enjoyed these celebrating these occasions with the family. My mother had a happy, contented, and devotional life. She will be missed by her friends. They knew her as Pushpaji, and children as Bai, and Bua to her nephews and nieces in India. I would like to express my sincere thanks to all those who have joined us on Zoom around the world, and the people who made special effort to come and join us in here at join us for the Vishwa Bharati prayers for our mother at the JVB. I want to especially thank my wife, Indu, for all the hard work she's done for the last few weeks, and especially for the last few days, organizing everything. I want to give my sincere thanks to Samniji for organizing this event today at the JVB Center in Harrow. Om Haram.
Om Haram Madam Bhai. ये प्रोजेक्टर बंद कर सकते हैं, प्रोजेक्टर बंद कर सकते हैं, उधर से नॉइज हो रहा है, हाँ बंद कर लें, आप बंद कर दें।
I almost think now, I think she kind of liked that naughty side of me. I recall a time when I was in the Mandir at 25 Surrey Gardens Road, and I was playing with matches. I must have only been 5 or 6, and I ended up burning the rug in the Mandir room, and she just threw the rug away and never mentioned anything to mum and dad, because I think she knew that I would have got a good tuck that evening. Strange as it sounds now, I actually miss getting a broken watch from Wembley Market for my birthday so many years ago. I miss how as a child, you know, Bai would often take me on the bus to go see her friends, whether it's Gumla Auntie or Auntie from Hendon or any of her friends who live locally, Auntie Mira included. I miss how when I used to get to Sunny Gardens, she would make me fresh roti. And then the two of us would add a little bit of chaat masala to the side of our sabji and our dal. That was just something that we used to do together. I also recall how many times we'd go to Sunny Gardens Road and there'd be an endless supply of fruit and biscuits when we came around. And Amir and Serena would literally just take their pick. And then before we always used to leave, we would always get a fruit bag to take home with us. You know, this simple act of generosity which made her so happy. These are all the moments I've been reminiscing for the last few days in the build up to being here today. I feel so proud looking back at not only who Bai was, but all that she achieved. Instrumental in helping to set up the Jain Association, bringing up 4 children as a single mum in England so long ago and in tough times, looking after a house, ensuring her children were educated, mouse fed, and she loved them all in her own unique way. How many super grands do we all know who have traveled across 3 continents and seen so many countries along the way, fearlessly and with no hesitation? And more often than not, she did so on many occasions on her own. I struggle to travel on my own at my age now, let alone how she did it all the way into her 60s and early 70s. And how many other daddies would have found that sheer resilience and strength through her love and connection to God to keep going, even after she fell ill. Family and her mandir at home. This was her everything, her 2 greatest loves. Bai would love seeing all of us together, no matter the occasion. She taught us to be there together, she taught us to be there for each other and not to worry, everything will be okay. Such a simple philosophy when you think about it. And she loved having her 2 great granddaughters. Just seeing Amir and Serena would make her so happy. Her face would light up when she saw them together. Bai, there are no words I can use or say to show you how much we miss you. Your 7 grandchildren will always know who you are, what you stood for, your values, and the importance you placed on the family and sticking together. I just hope we've all made you proud, and we will do our best to ensure that your legacy continues for many generations to come.
Thank you, Anish. Really, you touched the heart, your feelings, and those moments you lived with Dadi. And you know, you are the torchbearer of Dadi's Jain values. And it is your duty to pass on the coming generation. And it is our youth's duty. If they do, then we can feel the next 100 years, Jainism is on the high spirit. So thank you for your really touching feelings and those moments really you narrated so well. Everybody felt that Dadi is nearby us. Now I would like to call upon Ashish. Ashish, yes.
Yeah, got my own. So we had a few technical issues, but can you guys hear us now on Zoom? You can, brilliant.
For them, it is okay, but those who are outside.
Yeah. So first of all, I'd just like to start by saying Bai would be so proud. We're in a pandemic, and to see all friends and family and community here in person, and I can't even see how many dozens of people are, I can see at least 34 participants logged in, and that's 2 or 3 family members each. So we've got over 100 people logged in here in a pandemic for Bai, and I know she'd be so proud. So thank you to everyone coming today. Thank you to everyone online. I can definitely see family from London, Birmingham, Canada. So Sunil Chacha, Ardesh, I know Meena, Chachi and Priyanka are also logged in somewhere, India as well. So, it's an international event for Bai, and, it's what she deserves. So just like Bar and Dad, I'd like to give you my own personal experiences of what Bai meant to me. And I think it's really similar to experiences everyone here has had with Bai. So I'm going to start from when I was young and then take it to when I was older. And my first real memories of Bai are, most of you here will know, I was always ill as a kid, grommets and snotty nose. And actually, where do you go when your parents work? Well, I was lucky. I had a grandma down the road, and her door was always open to look after me. And she didn't just look after me, she would make me the best food. Now, her fridge would be full of Indian food, but she knew what I liked. So she would cut potatoes fresh, fry them nice and crisp, and have them nice bit of salt on there and a bit of vinegar as well. And she'd always do some beans for me as well, because everyone knows I love my beans. So I'm sure most of the family here will remember Bai's food, and she made amazing food, and everyone would have their different favorites, but yeah, her freshly cooked chips for me were the best. So I was really lucky to have Bai so close and always there looking after me. And we had good fun, even when I was a kid. I remember going to her house and spending time with her. We would laugh quite a lot. And one story, which I wasn't sure whether to tell, but I'll tell it, was Dad used to give me videos to watch when I went to Bai's house, because, I was unwell and I needed some entertainment whilst I was there to get better. And, he recorded shows like Steptoe and Son and Only Fools and Horses. And I remember Bai one day saying, "Is better? No." And she thought they were adult films. So she was like, "No, you're too young to watch." So then I had to sit her down and make her watch them with me. And she started laughing with the shows as well. So we were sat there together laughing. And Bai was a real character, I know there's lots of things I'll talk about spirituality and religion, but, she had a really good sense of humor, and she really did enjoy life, and she could enjoy life with a 5-year-old grandson, or I won't say how old you are, but her elder son, and whatever your age range was, she could really find that connection with you. I mean, as I sort of grew up later in life, I suppose things become more important in your relationships with your grandparents and your parents, and they change. And I think becoming a doctor was like a really important moment for me, because I think, Granddad being a doctor himself, when I graduated, I think for Bai and for Dad, it sort of closed a bit of a loop in the family, and something that maybe had been missing. And so I felt proud more for the feeling I gave to Bai, and she used to tell her friends and family, and I could see she was proud. And actually that mattered more to me than the fact I'd graduated or anything like that. It's the feeling that you can have, and the respect and bond you can have with Bai. That's really what meant a lot to me. And family meant everything to Bai. I'm so grateful she made my wedding. It was only 2 years ago, but so much has happened. We've lost Bai, we've had a pandemic, but how lucky am I that she was there for my wedding. And all of my friends last year texted me to say their condolences when Bai passed away. Most of them had never met her, but they all said, "I remember the amazing speech she gave at your wedding. It's powerful, emotional." They all said to me, "You're very lucky to have had a grandma who could give that kind of speech fearlessly in front of 300 people, 350 people." And, sadly, the last thing I remember of Bai was when she was in hospital, and, she was sort of coming in and out of consciousness a little bit. But at one point she woke up, she saw Sonal, she saw me, and she just took our hands together, both them together, and put her hand on top. She didn't say anything, but that was Bai. She didn't always have to. You knew what family meant to her through her actions. So I'm going to try and keep things a bit more positive. I'm sorry, Portraiture. I know some of these stories are quite emotional. But how will I remember Bai? And this is my personal way, how I will remember her, and how I hope everyone else will. So first of all, I'll always remember her generous nature. She's always giving. Her front door was open to friends and family. And I'll always remember how she would sign off birthday cards and Christmas cards, because she'd say, "Dear Ashish" at the top, and at the bottom she'd write every member of the family at the bottom, even Amir and Serena. And I always used to check to see if she accidentally wrote my name at the bottom as well, but she never did. So, you know, she was with it right to the end. She knew exactly what she was doing. Bai was tenacious. You know, she lived for what she believed in. And I think she believed in three main things: her family, so everyone here today and on Zoom, her friends and the community, and Jainism. And those three things are really what gave Bai so much happiness and enjoyment in life. She was the matriarch of the Kalraya family, but she was also the pioneer of the Jain community and setting up the Jain Association and everything she did. And the last thing is, Bai was the type of person who I always felt Bai will be around forever. And for me personally, she still is. You know, we're all here because of Bai, and we all carry bits of Bai with us every day. So I don't feel like Bai has gone, you know, for me, and I hope everyone else feels like that. So I just want to give a few closing comments just about Bai to try and maybe summarize some things. So today is a religious day in many ways, and I know the family feel empty without Bai, but when we pray, it's like Bai is still with us. Her religious belief made her feel life would always be okay. You know, she always knew that she had Jainism, and she just had this positivity that whatever happened, she just knew somehow, some way, things were going to be all right at the end of the day. And I think that's something we can really learn from, because despite having some really big tragedies earlier in her life, can you imagine, you know, the things that she went through, a new country and husband passing away and 4 kids, and then the life she led, you know, I mean, Margaret Thatcher, 2 pictures of Margaret Thatcher up on that screen, the countries she's visited, the legacy that she's left. Not many people, probably no one I know, can kind of go from, you know, the lows to the highs that Bai managed. And it's just through her force of will and not letting hard knocks let her down. And so there's so much inspiration we can all take from Bai into our own lives moving forward. So to everyone here, family and friends and everyone listening, I think whenever anyone misses her, I think it's important to remember there's always a way to find a connection with Bai. And she was that type of person. She's left a real legacy. You can say prayers, you can take a deep breath, you can lead a spiritual life, or you can just sit there and think of her and her memories, and that will keep your connection with Bai going. And it will always feel like she's around us. So the last thing I want to say is, for me, Bai may have left us physically, but I always feel her in my heart, and I don't feel like she has gone anywhere on a day-to-day basis. I'm very, very grateful to have had her as my grandma and my Bai, and I still feel like she's still here. So for anyone that's feeling down or sad, I hope that you can take some of, you know, inspiration from her life, and always remember she is still with us, just in a slightly different way. So thank you very much, everyone, again, for coming today.
Thank you, Assis. It was really moving and touching, and you are not speaking something, but your experience which is relating everybody and pulling the pool of memory in many hearts and many minds. So now I would like to ask Rishi to say a few words. Rishi is the son of Ajay. Yes.
I spent a few years of my life with Bai, 14 years in our company and 2 and 3 at our home. Everyone knows Bai, and she was a very unselfish, caring person. As I got older, I started to understand who Bai truly was. Not just a grandmother who just gave me fruit and chocolate every time I go to Sunny Gardens Road. She went through loads of struggle for everyone around us here, including me, from an early age till just right to the end where her health had struggles. Yeah. She was very independent, humbling, and a very giving person who had the strong core beliefs through religion, but her life as well. We can all take a page out of Bai's book through all her kindness and everything she did for the community. So,
Madam Rishi, thank you. And now I ask Mala, say a few words. daughter-in-law, Mala Jain.
Jai Jinendra, everyone. I'd just like to say how adventurous my mum was. I used to call her mum just because she treated me as if she was my mum. She wanted to go traveling, and I was quite surprised when I got married. She would say, I want to go to India. Anytime there was a wedding, a family wedding, she would say, I want to be there. And it was so special because she'd make all this big preparations for going there. Her suitcases would always be full. Her hand luggage would sometimes be bigger than the suitcase. She would always get it through past passport control with her little smile and say, oh, I'm a frail old lady. So Bai loved traveling. And I think that's the bit that I liked about her. She loved traveling. She learnt from people from all over the world. And she'd experienced life even before I got married. Later on, she wanted to go to San Francisco. Ajay and I were a bit hesitant when she said she wanted to go on her own. She said to us, I'll be fine, don't worry. And lo and behold, she flew on her own. She traveled, parts of California and then came back with all these stories. So all I can say is, if you take anything, make the most of your life. Don't wait to get older. Just do it when you can. That's my message, because that's what Bai did. Thank you. Jai Jinendra.
Life is a journey, and we all are travelers on this planet. Sooner or later, we are passing through. But during this journey, we gather so many experience in our life. So traveling is a book, and we learn without book through the traveling. So today, I would like to ask, Dr. Dhariwal ji is here, and we have seen him. He is also a pillar of strength for Jain Association. And he spent a lot more time, lot more paryushanas and celebrations when Pushpa ji is working hard, and even Dr. Dhariwal also. So I call upon Dr. Dhariwal, please come here.
Would you some water?
Jai Jinendra, everyone. I have such a fond memories with Pushpa ji, and we are gathered here to pay homage to her on her first death anniversary. One thing I would tell you about Pushpa ji is that she was full of energy, and she would do anything on the principles that she followed, and particularly for Jainism. She created a temple in her house, her own house, which you all know very well. And she was the founder, one of the founders of Jain Association, where we first met, 5 or 6 of us, myself, K.C. Jain, B.L. Jain, Mr. V.V. Jain, and G.D. Jain. Some of them naturally are not with us now. She was one of the first, she was the first president of Jain Association. And she carried on with great vigor and brought the Jain Association, many people into Jain Association then, and we had a reasonable number of members of Jain Association from virtually all over the London and even outside the London. I think the great impetus that and support that she had was from Acharya Shri Sushil Muniji. And when the Sushil Muniji came in 1975 here, yeah, that was an opportunity to establish a Jain association. And things were then taken on, and later on in 1977, we registered the Jain Association as a charity. It's I think a great vacuum that we are going to feel, and we are feeling now, because she was such a driving force in doing things. She did not need any excuse to do any program regarding the Jainism. And she would find any way, and she would support in such a way that we all were amazed that alone she has been doing, and she is able to do so much. She always welcomed members of the Jain members of the Jain community at her home at the temple, and she dedicated herself towards the religion. She brought the big murti from India. She would go to India virtually every year because she just needed a little excuse to go away to India. And she would always ask me, because she knew that my sister lives in Sivni, and in Sivni she has got her sister as well. Her sister lives in Sivni, and so she would always ask me, is Kamala there or not? Because I want to go and see her. Every time that she went to, she actually saw my sister, and met her. So she was such a person that really tied up with the people. In 1982, we did an international Jain conference in which many of the colleagues and some of the colleagues were sitting here, helped a lot. But when the matter came on, because there would be a lot of delegates coming from India and elsewhere, where we are going to make the mistake. So she moved on and said, don't worry, I got my house and I'll look after them. So she was just, so cohesive in that sense, and she wanted to help in every way. But not only that, but she actually helped several students from India who came in because they had their difficulties, because where would we get a vegetarian food? So she says, don't worry, I'll accommodate you. And she did accommodate so that they could remain vegetarian and get a vegetarian food. Well, there are not enough words to express our gratitude to her, but I'm sure that we would always remember her, and this is a vacuum that would be very difficult to fill. I pay my homage to her on her first anniversary of the death, and hope you all join with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dhariwalji. Sometime when one person take a lead, then the whole community walk together. Gandhi told, मैं तो अकेला ही चला था, लोग आते गए, कारवां बनता गया. So now I would like to ask K.C. Jain Saab, say 2 words about Pushpa ji, because whenever I in 1997, and since then many Paryushan, 10 Lakshan, we celebrated at Pushpa ji's temple, and I have seen KC Jain Saab always there.
Thank you very much. What I have to say about the Pushpa ji, I know her since 1969. We were together with the promotions of the Jain Association. You do your hard work. She loves Jainism. She loves community, and she helped all the way to Jain Association. It is for her wish that Jain Association should be increased and prosperous. She always, whenever any sadhujis or somebody's come, they always stay at her home, all the times. The number 18, number of sadhus has stayed over the temple, and she look after. She love peoples, and she like gatherings at her home all the times, and she always help to everybody, and especially those students come from India, they always like to help. She was the bone of Jain Association, and she helped like anything. Even Samniji knows, I think she had been there a couple of times.
Yes.
So she welcome everybody, not only the Samniji, but all the sadhus, sadhvis, whoever comes here, ritual Jainism, he always welcomes them. We had traveling together so many places with the Susan Muniz, even the Europe, whole of Europe. You always like to come. She joined lately these Anglo-Asians. She went on the platform with the Margaret Thatcher. She always like to meet, and she always like to. She was a very humble lady, and my relation was just a friendly and homely relation. How much I can say, nothing is empire, but I give my homage on the first anniversary of Pushpaji's, and it will always remain in everybody's heart. Everybody knows Pushpaji very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, KC Jain Saab. Pushpa ji was always for family, always available to their kids, but always available to the community. जब स्वयं का विस्तार इतना होता है, आदमी अपने पर ही स्वार्थी नहीं होता, परार्थ और परमार्थ की बात सोचता है, तो वैसी थी हमारी पुष्पा जी. परमार्थ उनकी रग रग में रमा हुआ था, सेक्टेरियन भावना नहीं थी. सभी चाहे दिगंबर आए चाहे श्वेतांबर आए, as I remember, she came from Digambar family. So she always asked in my 1 year, समनी जी पर्यूषण तो करना है, पर 10 लक्षण नहीं भूलना. 10 लक्षण is must. मैं कि yes. फिर धीरे से कहते, देखो मेरी इंदु है, उसके लिए पर्यूषण करती हूँ, और मैं मेरे लिए 10 लक्षण भी करती हूँ, तो इसलिए मैं दिगंबर और श्वेतांबर सब कुछ हूँ. तो आप जानते हैं, भगवान महावीर ने हमें एक ओपननेस दी है. इन सब पंथ मत की बात भी हम जैन हैं, हम एक हैं, हम बहुत छोटी कम्युनिटी हैं, और यदि हम साथ मिलके काम नहीं करते हैं तो हम बहुत पीछे रह जाते हैं. इसलिए बहुत बार मैं कहती हूँ कि जैन एसोसिएशन और जैन विश्व भारती, इनमें भाई बहन जैसा संबंध है. आप स्टूडेंट की बात कहते हैं, मैं पीएचडी करने आई तो मुझे भी कहा, समनी जी आप मेरे घर रह जाओ, मेरे घर रह जाओ. तो मैंने उनको बताया कि भी ऑलरेडी आपके पास 2 स्टूडेंट है, और 2 हम और हो जाएंगे, और साथ में आपका टेम्पल भी चलता है, तो इसलिए मैं जब कोई भी स्थान नहीं होगा तब तब आया करूंगी। तो मेरी पीएचडी के दौरान मैंने लगभग 200 घरों में अपना समय बिताया है। और लेकिन उनका यही कहना था, बार बार कहती थी, ये घर खुला है, ये दर खुला है, ये दिल खुला है, आप आइए रहिए। और मेरे कुक करने वाली लेडी भी आती है और मेरे बेटे बहू भी मुझे संभालते रहते हैं। तो ये था उनका अपनापन, उनका प्रेम और जैनत्व के प्रति, एकत्व के प्रति, यानी खुद दिगंबर थी, श्वेतांबर के प्रति उतनी भावना, स्थानकवासी, देरावासी, तेरापंथी। और मुझे बहुत बार कहती थी, आपके यहाँ तो गजब का मिलिट्री अनुशासन है, आपके गुरुजी ने किस प्रकार आप सबको एक डोर में बांधा है, ये मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। बहुत बार कहते थे, एक डोर में एक आज्ञा से सारे काम होते हैं। तो ये मुझे कई बार कहते थे। और उनकी स्मृतियां सबके मन में ताजा है। तो अब हम दोनों समणी जी उनकी आत्मा आगे से आगे पवित्रता का वर्ण करती हुई, शांति का वर्ण करती हुई आगे बढ़े, क्योंकि उनको एक धाम था, एक नाम था, एक पारस प्रभु के प्रति उनकी जो आस्था थी। इसलिए भगवान पार्श्वनाथ का भजन गा करके हम आज के कार्यक्रम का समापन करेंगे।
प्रभु पार्श्वदेव चरणों में, प्रभु पार्श्वदेव चरणों में, शत शत प्रणाम हो मेरे मानस के स्वामी, तुम एक धाम हो, तुम एक धाम हो, तुमसे राग रति क्यों द्वेष और से, क्यों द्वेष और से, यह वीतरागता तेरी, यह वीतरागता तेरी, मेरा विश्राम हो मेरे मानस के स्वामी, तुम एक धाम। ऋण बनूं कैसे उपकार से, अहो उपकार से, चरणों में भले पनैया, बस मेरी चाह हो मेरे मानस के स्वामी, तुम एक धाम। नस नस में बस रहे हो, रस ज्यों कवित्व में, रस ज्यों कवित्व में, भगवान भक्त तुलसी के ही राम हो मेरे मानस के स्वामी, तुम एक धाम हो, तुम एक धाम। प्रभु पार्श्वदेव चरणों,
प्रभु पार्श्वदेव चरणों शत शत प्रणाम हो मेरे मानस के स्वामी तुम एक धाम हो तुम एक धाम। ओम नमो भगवते पार्श्वनाथाय हर हर स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते पार्श्वनाथाय हर हर स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते पार्श्वनाथाय हर हर स्वाहा। तो पुष्पा जी की स्मृति में एक लोगस का ध्यान करते हुए, जिनको लोगस आता है वो बोल भी सकते हैं, नहीं तो सभी ध्यानस्थ होकर के सुनेंगे।
योगस्य विच्युयगरे धम्मतिथयरे जिने अर्हन्ते चित्तयिसं चौवीसंपि केवली उसभमजियं च वन्दे सम्भवमभिनन्दनं च सुमयं च पौमपहं सुपासं जीर्णं च चन्दपहं वन्दे सुविधिं च पुष्पदन्तं सियलसिज्जं च वासुपूज्यं च विमलमनन्तं च जिनं धम्मं सन्तिं च वन्दामि कुन्थुङ्गरं च मल्लिं वन्दे मुनिसुब्बयं नमिजिनं च वन्दामि रिट्ठनेमिं पासङ्गः वध्यमानं च एवं मये अभिथुवा विहुयरयमलापहीन चरमरणा चौवीसंपि जिनवरा तिथयरा मे वसीयन्तु किर्त्यवन्द्यमये जे लोगस्य उत्तमा सिद्धा आरोग्यबोहि लाभं समाहि वरमुत्तमं दिन्तु चन्देषु निर्मलयरा आयिजेषु अह्यम्पयासयरा सागर वर गंभीरा सिद्धा सिद्धिं मम दिसन्तु सिद्धा सिद्धिं मम दिसन्तु। खामेमि सब जीवे सवे जीवा खमन्तु मे मित्ति में सब भूयेषु वैरं मज्जन केनै वैरं मज्जन केनै। ओम अरहम। पूरे कलरिया फैमिली ने आज का ये जो कार्यक्रम रखा है, और पुष्पा जी की आत्मा जहां कहीं भी है सुन रही है, समझ रही है कि भविष्य उज्जवल है, फ्यूचर इज ब्राइट। और जो भी ग्रैंडसन, ग्रेट ग्रैंड डॉटर्स और उनके बेटे बहुएं और अपनी कम्युनिटी सभी साथ आए हैं। और मैं आप सबको बता रही हूं कि इस बार पर्यूषण अभी भी पेंडेमिक की स्थिति को देख करके अभी तक वर्चुअल ही घोषित है। और जैन एसोसिएशन, बर्मिंघम जैन आश्रम तथा आयरलैंड जैन समाज और जेवीबी बेल्जियम, जेवीबी नीदरलैंड, जेवीबी स्कॉटलैंड, ये सब हमारे साथ हैं। तो काफी भाग लेंगे, सभी भाग लेंगे। सुबह भी मेडिटेशन होता है, भक्तामर होता है, 6 बजे से शुरू होता है, जिसमें जिनको मेडिटेशन और प्राणायाम में रुचि है वो आते हैं। 7 बजे से भक्तामर शुरू हो जाता है, फिर 15 मिनट मेडिटेशन होता है। छोटी सी खुराक, छोटी सी टैबलेट दिन भर काम करती है।
तो वो चलता है। और उसके बाद प्रवचन होगा 10 बजे से 12 बजे तक। फिर दोपहर को भी 1 घंटा कार्यक्रम होगा, डिफरेंट टाइप के वर्कशॉप्स होंगे। हम श्रावक क्यों हैं और क्या हमने श्रावक के वाव्स लिए या नहीं, इसके विषय में श्रावक बनने का भी अवसर, तो दोपहर को जुड़ जाइए। और सुविधा ऐसी है कि गाड़ी में इधर उधर घूमना नहीं, तैयार हुए या नहीं हुए एक दुपट्टा डालकर बैठ जाओ, है। तो इसके लिए भी एक बड़ी सुविधा है, वर्चुअल की एक हमने सुविधा भी देखी है। और उसके साथ शाम को प्रतिक्रमण, तो प्रतिक्रमण भी 8 दिन भाव से कर लेते हैं, उसका भी बड़ा असर आता है। इंग्लिश प्रतिक्रमण भी चलेगा और हिंदी और प्राकृत वाला प्रतिक्रमण भी चलेगा। उसके बाद एक छोटा सा लेक्चर होगा 20 मिनट का, बट फॉर्म विल बी ओपन टू क्वेश्चन आंसर। वो शाम का कार्यक्रम इंग्लिश में होगा। तो यूथ जितने भी आज दादी को जितना याद किया है, मैं सबको कहूंगी कि पर्यूषण में अवश्य जुड़े। अनीश, आशीष और वे और ऋषि और भी जितने लोग हैं उनको भी जोड़े, ताकि हमको समझ में आए कि व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन इन जैनिज्म। फिर उसके बाद भावना, भक्ति, तो अच्छे अच्छे सिंगर आ रहे हैं। मीनाक्षी जी बुतोड़िया जो आपने फर्स्ट सुना था, अरुण जी ने जो वीडियो बनाया मम्मी का उसमें लिया, तो मीनाक्षी जी से ही हमारी भक्ति भावना शुरू हो रही है। मीनाक्षी जी गाएंगे और विक्की पारिक भी आ रहे हैं, और भी नीलेश बाफना, नए सिंगर भी आ रहे हैं। तो काफी नए सिंगर के द्वारा, और अपने होम सिंगर भी होंगे। तो सभी मिल करके इस पर्यूषण को, 21 का पर्यूषण है, 21 मनाएं। और पर्यूषण दशलक्षण के कार्यक्रम होंगे, सभी अपनी अपनी भावना के साथ जुड़े। और आरती जी so Paryushan program, evening program will be available in English. So especially those youth, they can join. And you know, whole year we are busy with different types of work, running for the work. And sometimes we can say during this pandemic, we are not running, but we are running out. Because when you open the laptop, there is so many things. So what you want to do, sometimes you do something else as well. So many programs are there, so many YouTube, so many channels, and so it is available. So please join and use your time. Om Arham. Again, homage to Pushpa ji and Mangal Part in stand. Hindu को बोल,
ऐसा करूं,
हिंदू बोलना,
ऐसा करूं, ऐसा कर दूं, दिखाने के लिए।
हाँ, सबको दिखा दो। थोड़ा सा सब पास में आ जाएंगे। हाँ, थोड़ा सा सब पास में आ जाए। आप लोग आगे भी आ सकते हैं, थोड़ा आगे आ जाइए सब अपनी चीज, ताकि जो 35 फैमिली जुड़े हुए ना, वो आपको देख सकेगी। जैन साहब आगे आ जाइए, आगे आ जाइए। अरुण भाई नमो अर्हन्ताणं, नमो सिद्धाणं, नमो आयर्याणं, नमो वज्रायाणं, नमो लोये सब्ब साहूणम्। एसो पंच नमोकारो सब्ब पावपणासनो, मंगलाणं च सब्बे सिंह पद्मं हवै मंगलम्। चत्तारि मंगलम् अर्हन्ता मंगलम्, सिद्धा मंगलम्, साहू मंगलम्, केवली पन्नतो धम्मो मंगलम्। चत्तारि लोगुत्तमा अर्हन्ता लोगुत्तमा, सिद्धा लोगुत्तमा, साहू लोगुत्तमा, केवली पन्नतो धम्मो लोगुत्तमो। चत्तारि शरणं पवज्जामि अर्हन्ति शरणं पवज्जामि, सिद्धि शरणं पवज्जामि, साहू शरणं पवज्जामि, केवली पन्नतं धम्मं शरणं पवज्जामि। ए चार सरना सगा और सगो न कोई, जे भव्य प्राणी आदरे अक्षय अमर पद होय। विघ्न हरण मंगल करण स्वाम भिक्षुनो नाम, गुण ओळख समरण किया सरे अचिंत्या काम। अंगूठे अमृत बसे लब्धि तना भंडार, श्री गुरु गौतम समरिये मन वांछित फलदातार। सिद्ध साधु प्रणमी करी ऋषभाधिक 24, स्तवना करूं प्रमोद धरी। जय जसकर जगदीश, जय जसकर जगदीश, जय जसकर जगदीश। ओम। सम्मी जी को क्या बोलेंगे? वंदामी